heard of Beijing's Peking duck, but have you ever heard of Yiliang duck? Probably not. It's from a very small county on the very opposite side of the country. You literally couldn't get further away from Beijing if you tried. But even though separated by miles and mountains between, these two roast duck here share a very special connection. So get comfy, grab some snacks, because today's food adventure is about to be ducking awesome. Hello, and welcome to another Chinese food adventure, and I am back in Kunming, where I've just been resting for the last few days after the craziness and whirlwind that was the great ham, cheese and mushroom tour of Yunnan. I have a flight back to Chongqing tomorrow, which leaves me just enough time for a food adventure before I leave. It's 8 AM, so of course I'm gonna get me some breakfast. And what I'm gonna eat is actually a breakfast I've had my eye on for this entire trip and I haven't had a chance to try yet, so today is the day. It's called shao er kuai. Shao means grilled and er kuai refers to this pancake here, made of pounded rice, which has a soft and slightly chewy texture. Once it's grilled to perfection, it's time for sauce, a lot of sauce. Two main options here, a sweet sauce mix or a savory one. I went for the savory, and after he adds the youtiao, he goes in again with another layer of sauce. Sesame sauce, fermented tofu, chili, the gang's all here. It's rolled up and yeah, you know what, why not? Let's add some more sauce. Oh my goodness, would you check this out? It's kind of like burrito meets jianbing meets mochi. The texture of that er kuai on the outside is so soft. I just want to have a nibble. I mean, it's not super glutinous, it's not super like chewy, it's soft. It's like imagine a really thick burrito skin that's also made from rice. That's kind of like what that texture is giving me. Alright, let's go in for a big bite. Yum! The overall texture is definitely soft, but it just has the slight crispiness from the grill, which I'm really enjoying. And as for the sauces, there are a lot of sauces in there. You've got chili, you've got furu, you've got a whole heap of stuff, which is giving it this salty, spicy, and slightly fermented taste. It's a very savory kind of on-the-go, easy breakfast. But now we have our breakfast, now we need a taxi. We're gonna get on a taxi. It's gonna be about 50 minutes to an hour to get to our next destination. Okay, so I have just arrived in the county of Yiliang, and the reason I've come all this way is in the course of the last week or so traveling in Yunnan, having conversations with people, it's come to my attention that this county of Yiliang is actually home to a variety of roast duck. Not too dissimilar from the variety you would find in Beijing, but with one major difference, they use the local ducks here, which are actually so tiny. So in the photos I've been seeing online, it's like mini Peking duck. So I am actually gonna go to a restaurant and learn more about how it's made, the history behind it. And it seems the authority when it comes to Yiliang duck is this restaurant here, xxxx Fan Dian, where the recipe for Yiliang Shaoya has been passed down for generations. Here I'm meeting with Zhou Shifu. He's the 5th generation inheritor of this recipe, and yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
需要解说一下它的那个历史。我们宜良烧鸭它的前身就是北京变音法的技术。当年的时候，刘安老先生到了北京以后，看到了变音法的这个烧鸭的这个工艺，他就突发奇想了，就说哎。 我们可以把这个技术学了以后呢，就引入到宜良来。
As it turns out, Yiliang here also has a long history of breeding ducks. They're just a very different variety from those you'd find in Beijing.
北京烤鸭呢，它是肥壮的，挺大的。宜良烧鸭你看，个体小一点，但是吃着特香。
Another change that was made from the original Beijing recipe when it moved to Yiliang is the cooking method. In Beijing, you'll usually see duck roasted over open flames. Here in Yiliang, they've adapted to a different environment.
我们这个工艺呢，它是焖炉烤的，燃料它是用这个松针，松针叶呢它属于那个再生的，它对整个环境它没有破坏。烤制的这个过程当中呢，这个松针叶燃尽了以后，清香味可以融入这个。 鸭子的表皮有一点淡淡的那个松针那个清香味，还可以吧？颜色
非常可以。
哎，皮色枣红，入口呢酥脆，肉质吃着滋润鲜香，这个就是宜良烧鸭的特点之处了。
And yeah, you won't find any pancakes for your duck here. They also won't come to your table and slice the skin and flesh into delicate little slices like they'll do in Beijing. Here, it's a little bit more down to earth.
云南就是很开海航饭的那个感觉，大块切剁，大块吃肉，大块喝酒的那个意思。这个就是它的配料了，这个就是甜酱，这个是椒盐。椒盐呢，就是我们本土的口味，就是原汁原味的。甜酱呢，秉承了北京烤鸭的那个
就是。
哎，那个外角。
So 100 years and 2,500 kilometers of distance later, this is what Yiliang's adaptation of Beijing's roast duck looks like today. I think we can all agree that that introduction right now by the chef was probably one of the most epic introductions of a food that I've had on my channel. I feel so grateful to have heard that, the history behind the dish, that he's someone who's inherited this dish and he's passing on to future generations, and just his pride of the food that he has been so involved with for so much of his life. It just always touches my heart to see people talking about food just with such passion, and it makes me more excited to eat it. It also helps that it looks absolutely incredible. Oh my gosh, the skin on this duck looks so crispy and brown. On an unrelated note, I absolutely love this duck plate that the duck is served on. Also, you can definitely see the size of the duck is a lot smaller than what you would see in Beijing. This is probably the equivalent of a half duck that you would get in Beijing, which is great for me because I probably will be able to finish this. The first bite I'm gonna have completely on its own with absolutely nothing added. Oh my God, that skin, it's phenomenal. I mean, you can see how thick that skin is. So imagine a super crunchy layer on top and then a really soft, fatty layer underneath. And then you've got that lean meat. It's so full of flavor. It's so delicious. I actually think it may be up there with one of my favorite roast ducks I've had. I can understand why you wouldn't need to have this with any kind of like a pancake because it just tastes so damn good on its own. Anyway, let's try it with this salt. From what the chef was telling me, this is how locals like to eat it, just with a tiny little bit of salt added. So let's try that. Oh, that's good too. And it has a little bit of mouth numbing in it as well. It's a jiaoyan, so it's got the Sichuan peppercorn in there as well as salt. So I'm loving a little bit of buzz on my tongue after it. It definitely takes it to a different flavor profile with that salt in a very nice way. It's just a different way of enjoying roast duck. If you are coming to Kunming, if you have any plans to visit the Stone Forest perhaps, which we may or may not be checking out this afternoon, this is actually halfway between Kunming and the Stone Forest. So you can drive through, make a stop in Yiliang for lunch, and then head on to the Stone Forest completely full with calories, ready for an afternoon of exploring. For my next bite, I'm gonna have it with this jiang, which is the sauce that they use in Beijing inside the pancake. So it's kind of like a nod to Beijing, I guess. And yeah, I'm just gonna dip in a little bit there because it's quite a strong flavor, that jiang. Yeah, as soon as I dip it in that and try it, it definitely takes me right back to Beijing, that classic flavor profile. But in some ways it does cover up the flavor of the duck. I think actually my favorite bite of this roast duck was my first bite with nothing at all. And what's really interesting is how this recipe has been brought from Beijing, but then since adapted to local taste and the local duck and the local ingredients that are on hand, and it's in turn created something different and wonderful and delicious. And that's something I really love about traveling around China, diving deep into the food culture, is you see different adaptations of a dish all around the country, and they're all amazing. They all have their own unique specialties, and I am very happy to be able to travel and try them all. So please keep watching my channel, like, comment and subscribe so I can keep doing this forever. So I've had my fill of duck and I am now en route to the Stone Forest, which is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Yunnan province, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a forest of stone. You'll see. It's very, very cool. I've actually been there once before. So like many other tourist attractions here in China, once you buy your tickets, you then get on a tourist bus to take you to that main attraction. The Stone Forest here covers an area of over 400 square kilometers, so getting to the most concentrated section of stone trees takes quite some time. So we are officially at the Stone Forest, and you can't really get an idea for its scale and how much it looks like a forest from this angle. So we're gonna go all the way up there to that little pavilion there to get a better look. And of course, at the best viewpoint, you'll find the largest concentration of people. It's tourism physics after all. But once you find a gap through the people, this is the view you'll be rewarded with. From this angle, I think you can really kind of understand where this name Stone Forest comes from. If you squint your eyes, you could almost be fooled you're looking at an actual forest, and then you open your eyes and you're very confused again. It's definitely stone. And the reason for these formations, I was doing a bit of research earlier. She's impressed. So I came off the pavilion so you could hear me a bit more clearly. So basically what you're seeing here is limestone. This is the limestone forest, and geologists estimate that these structures have existed for over 270 million years. And I don't know about you guys, but this is a figure that just blows my mind. The fact that this stone forest here has been ever evolving since, you know, prehistoric times. And, you know, touching this, I'm basically touching fossils of 270 million year old animal and plant species species is just, wow, I feel so insignificant right now, but sometimes you really need those reminders, and I'm definitely being reminded of my insignificance being here in this prehistoric stone forest. But how does this exist? How did it form? Why is it here? Well, I did a bit of research on that as well. So basically, back in prehistoric times, this entire region was a vast sea. And then over time, due to movement of the Earth's crust, the sea became land and exposed the limestone. Limestone is basically made up of fossils. So when small marine animals die, basically their shells and their skeletons build up on the ocean floor, and over time, the layers of these fragments press down on each other, squeeze out the water, and recrystallize into solid rock. And that's what limestone is. So when I said I was touching fossils earlier, it's true. I'm basically touching fossils. And there are actually several areas in this park where fossilized remains of marine life have been exposed. So after the limestone was exposed and it became the land, over time due to erosion and the elements, it has slowly developed into these formations that we see here today. And as a result, because it's been formed due to erosion over the very, very slow passage of time, you can see some really interesting formations here. Look at this stone up here. It's just perched precariously between two other rocks. Man, you wouldn't want to be underneath it when it suddenly decided to fall. Funniest thing is, I was looking through my photos of my visit to the stone forest 10 years ago, and I have a photo of me standing under this exact rock, probably having the exact same thoughts. Well, 10 years later, it's still standing. I guess it's sturdier than it looks, or maybe our lives are simply too short to ever be able to appreciate the ever-changing, dynamic nature of this landscape. But of any of the formations, this one here is probably the most famous. So this represents the story of Ashima, a girl that was petrified into stone. So Ashima was of the Sani people, which is a branch of the I ethnic minority, and you can see here, this is her wearing a headdress with a basket on her back. So that's what this rock here represents. This rock formation, as well as this entire park, has huge cultural significance for the I people, who still inhabit this region around the stone forest to this day. Because this park is absolutely massive, you'll find some areas super crowded with people, while other areas are, well, not. I stumbled across this area in the south of the park. I've just been walking around, and I have not seen another person for at least half an hour, which I have to say is quite eerie because it's just me and these ancient stone structures, and I don't know if it sounds weird to say, but I can feel like a presence. I feel very intimidated. Lol, just as I say that, I hear someone for the first time in 30 minutes. I think the universe is trying to tell me, don't be scared, they're just rocks. So I continue to take the path less traveled, and I have come across a herd of goats. I was not expecting this. Although I do know that this region is also very famous for their goat's milk cheese. Maybe I'll actually try and find that. I'm pretty much done here at this park. Let's see if we can find some goat milk cheese. Good thing I brought my lactase. Although I don't know, with goat milk, would I have an allergy against goat milk? To be honest, I haven't really tried it. So right next to the stone forest Shillin, you have the town of Shillin, or its full name, Shillin I Autonomous County, which is where I headed to hunt down this cheese. I've just arrived at this restaurant which specializes in I ethnic minority food, and I've actually learned today that Shillin, this area, is inhabited by a lot of I people. So it's a great place to, I guess, eat some I ethnic minority food. And what I've just ordered apparently is very 特色, it's very characteristic food. And it's this little platter here that I've gotten that comes with half of this mountain goat cheese and half of a plate of stinky tofu, a local style of stinky tofu. So here it is here. On the right, you've got the stinky tofu, and on the left, you've got that mountain goat's milk cheese, or as it's called here, 乳饼. It is quite a fragrant platter happening here. I'm kind of getting notes of the stinky tofu and notes of that cheese. You may be asking me, Amy, you've told us in previous videos you're not the biggest cheese girl. Why are you here doing this to yourself? I mean, who knows when I'm going to be in the stone forest next. So I want to try this goat's cheese, not just goat's cheese, mountain goat cheese. I don't hate it. It's giving me a halloumi vibe. It's quite firm in there. It's got a little bit of salt on the outside, so it's giving it a saltiness, and it has very soft undertones of milkiness, but nowhere near as milky as the Rushan and that stretchy cheese we had at Dali. This is completely different. Actually, I like it. Who would have thought? Now to try the other half of our platter here. This is the local style of stinky tofu. There's also a little dipping sauce here of some kind of like chili salt. So I'm gonna try a bite first and then dip it in the chili. Tofu itself is quite tasty. Again, a little bit salty. It definitely has a stinky smell, but much like other stinky tofu varieties, once you actually eat it, it disappears in your mouth. The taste of this one is a little bit more earthy actually. Earthy and salty. Let's try it with some of that chili salt. Oh, it's good. Actually try some of this rubing with that chili salt now. That's good too. Even though the rest of the menu looked really, really tasty, I decided just to leave it at the platter because the fact is I am still so full from the entire duck I had at lunch today. So I have made my way to Shillin West Station where I'm about to get on a train back to Kunming. It's only a 20-minute train, so very nice. I even got myself first class because the first class ticket cost all of $6, Australian dollars by the way. That's like $4 American. You know what, I'll show you what first class is like on a train because I very seldom actually travel first class. So let's experience this together and then we'll do the conclusion on the train. And since I'm going first class, we're going luxury all the way. We are starting this experience with a massage chair at the station. So these days, most stations and airports and malls, pretty much everywhere in China that there's space, there's a massage chair. And for years, I was like, no, I'm not spending my money on that. I'm not doing it. And somewhere in the last 6 months, I have like ripped that Band-Aid, and now every time I come to a station or an airplane or a mall, I sit in one of these massage chairs, and yeah, just a nice way to wait for your first class train, you know? Speaking of first class, strap yourselves in guys, because here we are. Welcome to an experience like no other, guys. We are in first class right now. So the major difference between first class and second class is in first class you just have 2 seats here, whereas in second class you'd have 3. So you have a lot more room. I mean, check this out. Look how much room on either side of my legs. It's fantastic. You've got a nice little footrest here. Oh, it's got a platform. And look, you can recline all the way back. Well, I mean, not all the way, just about to here. Guys, this is some serious luxury. Well, that brings us to the end of today's food adventure. Thank you so much for watching, but not just this video, for all of the videos that I've made here in Yunnan. I'm really proud of the work I've done here. My heart and soul literally went into these videos, so please, if you haven't already, subscribe. Also comment for the algorithm, and make sure you like as well. I mean, it doesn't cost a thing to like, so do all those things, and I will see you on my channel next week. As usual, we're keeping it spontaneous. I don't know where I'm going next week, or what's going to be posting on my channel next week. But you will find out next week, so how fun is that? Anyway, I'll see you then. Bye.